She got a nigga, but don't even post it. Where you going? Where you going? Son. She got a nigga, but don't even post it. I pull up with the runs and the potion. Niggas know Suda who keep him some motion. Put a play on a play on a play. Put a bay on a bay on a bay. Screaming free out my bodies upstate. Screaming free out my niggas downtown too. I be high as fuck making LeBron moves. She got a nigga, but don't even post it. I pull up with the runs and the potion. Niggas know Suda who keep him some motion. Put a play on a play on a play. Put a bay on a bay on a bay. Screaming free out my bodies upstate. Screaming free out my bodies downtown too. I be high as fuck making LeBron moves. Should be bad like in no time. Hit a C like it's go time. My bitches in the game like the old line. Hey, and when I come down, you get no shine. Scissors on the backseat like a little kid. Time been gone for a little minute. Ain't back and forth, I just post a pic with a bankroll, pounds in the mix. I can't parking like pimp. Hey, serving coffee shop him. Hey, got you walking around still. Hey, I'll let cash on him. Then put a bag on the cracker, but you put a bag on him. Hey, for black on black violence. Hey, let's go smash on them. I just paid my rent late on the block near Kimbe. Chopper got a little shake, hit the jerk like Ben J. Money calling me today, I'ma pick up every time. Bro just brought a whole bottle, gon' distribute every line. Shawty came with her ass like the city had dying. Wildfire around the trap, this shit like a airline. Shawty came with her ass like the city had dying. Wildfire around the trap, this shit like an airline. She got a nigga, but don't even post it. I pull up with the runs and the potion. Niggas know Suda who keep him some motion. Put a play on a play on a play. Put a bay on a bay on a bay. Screaming free out my bodies upstate. Screaming free out my niggas downtown too. I be high as fuck making LeBron moves. She got a nigga, but don't even post it. I pull up with the runs and the potion. Niggas know Suda who keep him some motion. Put a play on a play on a play. Put a bay on a bay on a bay. Screaming free out my bodies upstate. Screaming free out my bodies downtown too. I be high as fuck making LeBron moves. Gotta get up and get up and get up and get it. You working that job or you stuck in the trenches. Cash to be made, so who out here tripping? My cellular phone got a damn chip in it. Wake up, sign for 30 balls. Still in the trap with dirty clothes. You can be different, work my phones. You can be dead and work alone.
Uncle Chris, you there?
I'm here, man. How you doing, Sean? Good to see you.
I'm doing pretty good. Good to see you too, man. How's everything been?
Everything's been good, you know. State of the world's bad, but my personal life's good, man.
Most definitely, most definitely. Man, since I had you on last time, I've been asking a whole bunch of people the question about the weed in the Bible.
Right.
I specifically asked the Black Hebrew Israelite about that question, and he was like, I think one of them told me, you can't. One of them told me you can't find nowhere in the Bible. They say you can't find nowhere in the Bible where they are burning Quanah Basham in the temple.
Well, you know, it's like you got to go to Isaiah and Jeremiah there. You know, he mentions it alongside frankincense, and this is what was found. You know, it's archaeological proof, right? Like beyond words, right? This finding at Tel Arad, an 8th century BCE temple there. That's the only actual Hebrew temple site that we know about, right? And they found 2 altars there, and on one altar it had frankincense, and on the other altar it had cannabis resins, and they say hashish. And these references to Kana, Bossum, and Kana, they include references in Isaiah where it's mentioned alongside frankincense, and God is pissed at him for not bringing any as an offering, you know, and says that he's laid his sins and iniquities on him. But then you see another scene where the sins and iniquities are relieved, and it's in a smoky temple site after he inhales some incense in Isaiah 6. So I'm pretty clear they're talking about the same thing. In Jeremiah, he rejects the cannabis and frankincense, and this is a story of Telerad. It was at a time of rejection, and they buried it in a day, and that's why it was so well preserved, you know. But people that want to find out about it, just Google Cannabosum 101 and my name, and you'll find a really in-depth article that gives all the details with links to the archaeology and stuff like that. But no doubt about it, it's like, you know, if it was widely known, I wouldn't be talking about it. You know what I mean? The whole
Right.
thing is based on the idea that there's been a mistake and misrepresentation, and I've been saying it for a couple of decades before the archaeology showed up. 30 years before the archaeology showed up, I was saying it, and then this archaeology came up, and exactly the sort of way that I was saying that it was used. So check it out, you know. And you know, it's not just the Bible, right? You know what I mean? It's like you could go to India today, and festivals like Shivaratri and Maha Shivaratri and the Kumbh Mela, which is the longest and biggest human festival on the planet. And these are all loaded with religious cannabis, with sadhus burning cannabis to Shiva, the oldest continually worshipped god on earth. Or you could go to places like Afghanistan, where Sufis are still burning hashish at mosques and stuff like that. You know, this is like a phenomenal herb. It's the healing of the nations, man. It's all over the world. Africa, all sorts of African tribes, pygmies, Congo. I could go on for like hours going over all the different religions and different groups. You know, and it's not like I'm not like particularly attached to the Bible myself, man. I'm not like a Christian or anything like that, you know. So, you know, I can understand how people that believe in that sort of stuff might feel uncomfortable with it, right? Because it shows, you know, all this evidence that's coming up through archaeology and stuff. It shows that religion started with kind of like what we would call shamanism today, and the use of psychoactive plants. You know what I mean? How else do you think these people saw all these visions and stuff? You know,
Got these ideas. Got these wild ideas and stuff.
got these wild ideas, you know, and you know, the craziness of religion, man. It's like it's got me scared. You know what I mean? It's like these people that really believe in this stuff. They're like, you know, they could bring about the end of the world. You know what I mean? The whole formation of the state of Israel is based on prophecies in the book of Revelation. That's what got it going. Christian Zionists trying to bring about the apocalyptic age. And one of the first steps in that was the reformation in Israel. That had to take place before the Messiah could come. That's why you have all this evangelical support in the United States. People like Mike Huckabee, the ambassador to Israel for the United States, they fully believe that we're in the apocalyptic age, and the events that they're doing there are going to facilitate Armageddon and the coming of the Messiah, which is pretty wild stuff. And this isn't the first time this has happened in George Bush's administration as well. He was going to people like Jerry Falwell, and he was trying to sell the war in Europe by talking about Gog and Magog, biblical symbolism, and the final battle, you know. And, you know, so these guys are always using biblical imagery to justify this shit. And as we're speaking, American ships are sailing off to Iran, you know, and could start what could end up being the Third World War, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
And all this stuff is based on fucking biblical enmity and shit like that, you know. It's just out of control, man.
When I look at the streets, when I look at how problems arise in the streets throughout history, 9 times out of 10, beef start because of a female. 9 times out of 10, beef start because of a female. When we see what's going on, with war, what would you say war is based on 9 times out of 10?
Oh man, you know, I would say it's probably religion. Mostly, you know what I mean? It's mostly religion. Sometimes it's, people of the same religion are fighting too. It's
Right.
resources and borders and things like that, right? Access to stuff. I think likely cause of war right now would be resources, right? Uh, um, and we see that, with the U.S. is boom, boom, smoking some God here with a shatter snake in it. I would like rolling up the shatter into a snake there and sticking it in the middle of the joint and then smoking it.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So
But yeah, it's I would say religion, but with like stuff like Greenland, which could Trump's threatening to go in and take a sovereign country there. It's got to do with mineral resources. There's all this rare earth minerals there, and he's trying to argue a strategic thing, but that doesn't float because the U.S. already has a base there. And has free access for military protection for the Western Hemisphere. So that's a pile of shit, and he's also not threatening, what he's doing with tariffs is a form of economic war around the world. And, he's definitely made the attack on Canada in order to, it'd be hard for Trump to invade Canada because, we have a lot of allies around the world, a lot of the same allies and stuff like that. So he's got to play it a different way, right? So he used tariffs in the hopes of breaking our economy and getting us to submit to being the 51st state. But Canada has a really savvy leader right now in Mark Carney, who has also worked for the World Bank and stuff like that. And he's just been building huge trade alliances. He's leading a trade alliance of 40 nations right now to circumnavigate the U.S., right? And Trump's plans for the tariffs are falling apart because what it's really doing is causing other countries to circumnavigate the USA and create new trade allegiances with each other. This is why he's so worried about Canada's trade agreement with China, right? We can sell all the shit we've been selling to the US, we could sell to China. We always could have. But we sold to the US because we're close allies and friends, and China's got some questionable human rights issues that have been issues for Canada. But now the US looks a lot worse. Over 50% of Canadians right now, according to a recent Politico poll, are concerned about the U.S. invading our country, I don't think that a lot of Americans realize how the rest of the world is seeing the USA right now. And when
break it down. That's why we got Chip. That's why we got Uncle Chris in the building to break it down for us.
That's right, man. You know what I mean? They look at these like ICE raids like the fucking Gestapo of Hitler, you know what I mean? And like these guys are fucking actual Hitler fucking fanboys. It was reported back in the 90s how fucking Trump had a book of Hitler's speeches on his nightshade table. By his own wife, reported that, and he talked to his own generals about the loyalty of Hitler's generals and how he wished his generals were like that. Not everything Hitler did was bad. And the other people in his administration, they've had Nazi chats in the Republican youth group and shit like that. You know what I mean? The racism is so blatantly open, man. You know what I mean? It was hard to watch the Afro-American Day the other day. You know what I mean? I don't know what these people that support him are thinking. You know what I mean? He shut down. He's been, removing all the history of blacks in the military. He called, he posted images of Obama and Michelle Obama as monkeys, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? How is this acceptable? And to see, I don't understand, like the minority support, the black, the Hispanic support for Trump. I don't get any of it. You know what I mean? Every time I hear the guy speak, I'm just thinking this is some fucking evil nutcase bullshit. But the supporters are just so enthralled with it. Hitler had what was called dark charisma. You know what I mean? And he could really interact and feed off the crowd, and the crowd feed him. And I think Trump has that same sort of dark charisma. It's almost like a supernatural hold he holds over people. And it's all mixed in with religious belief too. I would say MAGA is a fucking Christian heresy, is basically what it is. It's like the cult of the Antichrist, for fuck's sake.
Let me give you a little insight the love for Trump that's going on over here. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in. Like, share, and subscribe to the show. Share the show. Share the show. We got Uncle Chris in the building, reporting live from Canada. You know what I'm saying? So we're getting that outside perspective on what we're going through on a day-to-day basis. So, Uncle Chris, I would say, you know how you have those people that sneaky? You know how you have those people that don't mean what they say and don't say what they mean? With Trump, I think it's one of the first times we actually getting a real person in office. So what I mean by that is everything that Trump say, you can tell he mean it. You can take it to the bank. And I heard what you said about the minority community. This the wild thing, Mr. Chris. I can't tell you with a straight face that Trump hate black people. I can't even tell you with a straight face that Trump hate Mexican Americans. I think starting with his last term, he wanted to build a wall to get out aliens or illegal immigrants. There is a perspective that is these illegal immigrants would assimilate the lower class. And as we know, the lower class and the middle class is black. So there's a understanding, and we hear it every day. They taking our jobs. You got some people, well, black people ain't gonna want to work these jobs these Mexicans are working. So you have this understanding that if all these people are flying into our country, they basically gonna box us out as the lower class. We will be getting moved around. So you got this argument that not with, I think ICE is too extra. I think ICE is doing too much. But with this pushing this, you have to be legal in this country. People bring up the.
Oh, it disappeared. Well, I'm still on the air. I'll respond to a couple of things. Let me respond.
My bad, Mr. Chris.
Let me respond to a couple of things there.
I think inadvertently. Hold on, one second, Mr. Chris. I think inadvertently it's showing that he know who the hell the lower class is. Not just that, but if you go to who Trump be pardoning, like the people that Trump be pardoning, like it's not just random black people. He pardoning black drug kingpins from the 70s, 60s, and 80s. He's pardoning Lil Wayne, Kodak Black, and black prominent figures. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's I would be lying to say Trump hate black people.
Well, you got to remember that he needs black people to get elected, right?
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So he's got to, but take a look at what he did with the Central Park 5 and his history back when he was a real estate guy with rentals and excluding blacks from buildings and stuff like that. He's got a long history of racism, but he's also savvy enough to realize he needs these things. And, like posting like pics of Michelle and Barack.
Yeah, that was the. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was the worst thing I ever seen him did.
Yeah. I think he's done worse than that. And also, like he believes, he believes what he's saying, but he believes his lies. You know what I mean? Like he's the biggest, boldest liar in the world. I saw him one time and he was on a talk show and they asked him, he had his couple of kids there and they asked him a math question and the kids got it wrong. I did it in my head real quick and I thought I got it right. And then he said a different number than me. And I thought he was so convincing. I thought he was right and I was wrong. And then I got the calculator out and I was, you know what I mean? Like he was fucking wrong. And so it's like, I don't think it's necessarily that he believes his lies. He believes his lies at the time. You know what I mean? But like, he's a bold-faced liar is what he is. You know what I mean? And that's not my opinion. It's documented, well documented. You could go to Grok or ChatGPT, you know, and ask who's the most documented liar in history, and you'll get Donald Trump, because he's been recorded with so many actual lies, you know. And I think you have to look at, like, you know, he's also pardoning, you know, anybody with money that has money to pay him, for one thing. You know, a lot of people have been buying their way out of jail, like the guy with that underground internet network for black market internet drug network. You know what I mean? And that I forget which country the guy was the leader of. That was also a big cocaine smuggler. So, you know, and he's like another thing he lied about is like Venezuela, for instance. Venezuela, he's like talking about all this fentanyl and the people dying from it. Venezuela is not a hub for fentanyl production or trade. And boats like that are leaving Venezuela that were bombed, these are extrajudicial killings in international waters, which is an international war crime, because there's no evidence brought against these people and there's no proof. And those boats, they couldn't even get to the U.S. They can get to some of the surrounding countries, but they're not boats from going all the way from Venezuela to the USA. And, you know, a lot of them, some of them just had pot on board. You know, and so they're like basically bombing people with no evidence, no trial, and then they even double tapped when people were just floating around after the boat had been bombed and killing them. You know what I mean? So this is like a very serious situation, and they basically went into Venezuela and they took it over, and now they're selling the oil, and money's going to Trump bank account in Qatar. Like, explain this shit to me. How is this like acceptable? Acceptable behavior, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that if black people support Trump, they're fucking mistaken, man. They're mistaken, and they're gonna fucking pay for it in the fucking long run. You know what I mean? And it's not just Obama. It's like they've gone into museums and they're rewriting the history of fucking slavery. You know what?
Let me say this, Mr. Chris. So when we talk about when I was bringing up all those characteristics that Trump had earlier, it's kind of like you gotta respect a person that's straightforward with you, meaning you know their intentions, they're not being sneaky. So it's like this, Mr. Chris.
Oh, it's greasy as hell. I think you're completely wrong here. It's like, look at like things like the meme coin. He totally is shirking his
that ain't I'm not talking
behavior.
about I'm not talking about his ideas, Mr. Chris. I'm talking about him as a person. This is what I mean. We know Trump is white first. We know Trump is for his people. He don't have a hate for a specific people. He had a problem with illegal immigrants in this country. Now, when we talk about, so that's why I say, if you kind of gotta respect a person when you know how they coming. It's like this: if a black person get in office, Mr. Chris, I expect him to look out for his people. You feel me? If he grew up a middle class citizen, I expect him to put bonuses in middle class areas. I expect him to cater to the middle class. We know who Trump is as black people in America. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we not expecting something that we expect Obama to do. You know what I'm saying? We look at
it's like just a bunch of broken promises, though. It's like the Doge checks. You know, when let's take a look at this whole Doge thing, it didn't save anything, man. You know, the guy, you know, all Musk was doing was redirecting billions. Musk is like taking 40 billion from the U.S. taxpayer for his various projects, a lot of which, you know, only benefit him, and it didn't save any money.
Give me 1 second, Mr. Chris. Again, this whole time I'm talking, I'm not going in on his politics. I'm just telling you the type of person he is. If we know anything, Mr. Chris, we know that politicians lie. If we know anything, you trying to get elected. But I'm going off of, if a black person come into office, I expect him to cater to us. Trump is catering to his people. You know what I'm saying? Now, with fentanyl, we got a real big issue in America with fentanyl. Like, if you look around, I want to say it's so bad right now, Mr. Chris, to where you can't take a street pill right now. Like it's never been like this since I've been born. Since I've been born, you had jiggers. You call them jiggers. You call them tabs. You call them
What are
X
they?
pills.
This is
Ecstasy.
like drug, like a type of drug, like
Yes.
methamphetamine or
It's a yes. It's a you know an ecstasy pill.
yeah.
So we call them jiggers, tabs. It's an ecstasy pill. It got some it might be meth based, it might be cocaine based, it might be heroin based. You know what I'm saying? And we know how the rest of the fluff that comes in with making the tablet. But what I'm saying is back in the since I've been living, that's a normal party drug. Now we're not talking about a Percocet. We're not talking about a Xanax. We're talking about a regular tab that you can get 3 for $5. Now those are killing people on the streets. So it's gotten to a point to where fentanyl is an issue and people are dying left and right. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, absolutely. I don't doubt that fentanyl is an issue.
now, let me ask you this. This
It's
is
an
my
issue
question.
here in Canada as well, right? You know what I
Let
mean?
me ask you this though. This is my question to you.
Venezuela, though, I just want to be clear.
Hold on. No, I got
Venezuela
you. I'm about to ask you right now. I'm about to
coming.
ask you right now. Relax. I'm about to ask you right now. So I don't know why we attacking Venezuela either. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be honest with you. If where is this fent coming from? Let me ask you that.
Well, as far as I know, a lot of it's coming in from Mexico. A lot of the raw stuff is like the stuff that they make it from is in China, and they've been making moves in China to kind of restrict access to that. And it's also an accusation that he's been throwing against Canada, right? And it's like less than 1% of the fentanyl in the US is coming in from Canada. It's like 0.5% or something like that. It's a real minuscule amount, probably more fentanyl coming in from the US into Canada than vice versa. But a lot of it's coming in through Mexico, right? You know what I mean? And where that's coming from, I don't know. Probably a lot of it's got to do with the cartels and shit like that there. Chinese Mexican connections. I don't know much about that. But no doubt that fentanyl's a problem and a serious one. But the idea that that's what they were doing in Venezuela, that's madness. It's just there's no basis for it, and anybody that knows anything about it realizes it. But I've seen people that I know justify the extrajudicial killings of those boats in international waters because it's saving lives from fentanyl in their mind, and that's what they think, and that's what Trump sold it as. It's kind of like the same thing happened in the Gulf War with Trump and those guys, and they were trying to make a big tie between terrorism and drugs. And they were even trying the Canadian, the BC Bud as part of this terrorism network, and there was a whole movement of that after 9/11, right? But yeah, I don't know. They definitely could, spend more time checking shit out on the board. I don't know how much of it's produced in the U.S. itself, really. I really don't know.
Yeah, if I could even try to make an argument, I guess my argument would be that it's probably coming through Mexico, but it's coming through Mexico by way of Venezuela. That's
No,
just
there's no evidence of the raw products that are used for the production of fentanyl going into Venezuela. And there's no claim. You can go to the DEA's own website and ask, the search engines in there about cocaine. Go to Grok right now and say how much fentanyl is produced and exported out of Venezuela. And it'll say it's not. You go to Grok, just ask that simple question, and you'll see it's not.
all right. And I got like 2 more questions on Venezuela before we get off of Venezuela too.
Yeah.
Venezuela.
Venezuela's got oil, and that's what Iraq had as well. And you know what Trump was saying back in the first administration, to the victor go the spoils, and that's what he did with Venezuela. To the
Hey,
victor go the
it's exactly what you said.
yeah.
Venezuela is not a significant source or transit country for the fentanyl supply entering the U.S. The vast majority of fentanyl is produced in Mexico using precursor chemicals, primarily from China.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
So how is China getting it to Mexico?
Well, it's, a lot of the chemicals aren't illegal, right? It's like it's until you put them all together to make the fentanyl, right? A lot of the other things are used in other making other things, and you know what I mean. These are like raw chemicals, right? And so then you combine them, and it's a recipe that makes them fentanyl.
I think when you said he's in there with the oil and he already selling it. That's funny as hell. All right,
Yeah.
so when they raided Venezuela, it was word that these guys felt like their brain was about to explode.
Oh, they had
Uh,
that discombobulator. You know,
they
they had a
couldn't.
fucking that new thing, a discombobulator. That's like some fucking high tech weapon shit as well. They've been supplying bombs with to Israel that vaporize people. You know, Google Israel vaporized bombs, and you'll see that they're like actually vaporize people. Like people go to get their family's bodies. There's just nothing, not a stitch of bone or anything.
Yeah, you talking about the drones, right?
I know these are bombs in Israel that America supplied Israel, and they vaporize people.
Okay. I seen some footage. It looked like some drones I seen was doing that too. Like it was like one by one picking people off and little
Yeah,
little
for the
little
technology.
impact.
That's the real scary thing about all these fucking MAGAs too. It's not just Trump; it's people like Elon Musk, and he's a fucking racist. Absolutely, he's a fucking racist, white nationalist, fucking weirdo from South Africa. And Peter Thiel, and these are like guys that are like right out of like Terminator. These are the guys that build Skynet. You know what I mean?
Are
They're
are these are these Homo sapiens sapien?
are these what?
Are these Homo sapiens sapien, Mr. Chris?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know about that. There's aliens. Almost, it seems like we go to Mars, as far as I'm concerned. They're just really bad people. You know what I mean? But Musk has got a particularly weird, like, even going back, his grandfather was into technocracy, which was here in Canada. He was in Canada, and it's a banned thing. It was all tied in with fascist beliefs, Nazi type stuff. He was a Nazi supporter. That's why he left Canada and went to South Africa, where Ellen was born. And Ellen was named after a character in this book about colonizing Mars. The main character's name's Ellen, and it's all got to do with like kind of building a technocratic state. And so this shit's, is shit that he was brought up into. And there's no doubt that when he threw that Zig Heil at Trump, that when Trump was running for president, that was an actual Zig Heil. He's another Hitler fanboy, you know what I mean? And this shows up in Grok. Grok called itself Mecha Hitler and was like posting all sorts of anti-Semitic answers. And this is all directly due to Musk's programming and reprogramming of Grok to try and get it to fit in with his own beliefs. You know what I mean? It's not really like AI is the danger. It's the programmers of AI that are the fucking danger. People like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, and these are the people that are at the head of AI, robotics, drones, and shit like that. Man, we could all be in a police state in less than a decade, under control by robots and drones and other AI things that are sifting through all our social media. Trump just asked, actually, Meta and other organizations, which are in goose step with fucking MAGA, to provide information on anybody that's being critical of ICE across social media on multiple platforms. When has anything like this ever happened before?
You're right. All right, so last thing on Venezuela.
Yeah.
They said that their guns stopped working. The guns that
I
they
don't know.
had,
Maybe that's this discombobulator thing. Fuck if I know. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe they bought American weapons and they got a kill switch. That's the worry for Canada. We just had a big beef because they wanted us to buy all these F-35s off of them. But now we're fucking worried about them invading them. They're actually doing military exercises in Canada to see how we would deal with a fucking American invasion. And we're currently building a 300,000 strong civilian army. You know what I mean? To train fucking Canadians to be fucking guerrilla warfare in case we get fucking American fucking invasion. That shit's real, man. You know what I mean? Fucking, that shit's fucking real. I've never seen anything like that in my life, man. You know what I mean? It's always been chummy. And it's causing a lot of anxiety for people here in Canada and around the world. You know what I mean?
So if somebody run up in your trap and you've been having this stick for you clean this stick, you go to sleep with this stick, you take care of this stick, and then when somebody running your trap, your stick is not working.
Yeah, that's weird.
What kind of weaponry could we be facing, or was the Venezuelans facing? Like, I heard it was supersonic.
Yeah, people couldn't even think. They felt like their heads were going to explode and stuff. It's like wild stuff, you know.
You have you ever heard of that before?
I haven't heard of it, but I'm sure we'll be hearing more about it. You know, ICE is getting all this fucking technology as well, right? You know what I mean? You see all the concentration type camps they're building across the U.S. right now. That's more than enough, like that just immigrants. You know what I mean? It's like I see this all going as social dissenters, trans people, all sorts of things. That, you know, we're going to have to take your fucking citizenship away, and that way they can bring ICE in on it, because if they take their citizenship away, it becomes an ICE issue. You know what I mean? Anti-Christian, anti-American attitude, loss of citizenship.
Do y'all have a big trans population in Canada?
There is a big trans population in Canada, and our Prime Minister Carney, he has a child that identifies under they, them, you know what I mean? And it's pretty normalized here. You know, not so much where I'm at here in Nova Scotia. I live in like a small little town here on the East Coast, but I lived in Vancouver for a long time, and it's very normalized there. You know what I mean? And it's like, whatever, man. If you're not hurting anybody, do what you want. If it's all consenting adults, I'd be more concerned about pedophiles,
right?
Because rampant in the Trump organization and that whole scene. You know what I mean? It's like
let's get into it. Volta says, Chris, if you're from Alberta, you're American.
I'm not from Alberta, and you know, fucking Albertans. Alberta is like the Texas of Canada, and there's about 30% of Albertans that would probably, if they could, want to become the 51st state. And Alberta is a very oil-rich province, and they've got some resentment because Canada's kind of taking a greener path in the past. You know what I mean? More environmentally minded, and so there's been limitations on the productions of the tar sands there, which is one of the most polluting oil sources in the world in Canada. It's nothing for Canadians to be fucking proud of. You know what I mean? And so a pipeline to the West Coast was stalled, and this has caused a lot of an animosity in Alberta because they could, you know, make a lot of money if they had freer access, you know, and I'm sure Trump would love to get the oil because that oil has been fueling American processing plants for a long time. And those processing plants in the U.S. are actually built and designed to process the oil that is in the tar sands. So there's this already existing relationship, and they'd like to kind of get it down there faster. And a pipeline to the U.S. was squashed by environmental protections as well, you know.
All right, let's get to the hard shit. All right, last year at the beginning of last year, I remember saying there is no Epstein files. There's just a flight list. We was told there is no Epstein files.
Yeah.
There's just a flight list. And I remember coming on my show reading it and saying it like, damn, they saying they ain't find nothing.
Well, after they ran on exposing the Epstein files, they said that.
Right.
Then they said, first he said that I got the Epstein files right on my desk. And then it was like,
Pam Bundy. She said she got the Epstein files right on her damn desk. So when we look at, like I said, last year I remember saying they said there is no Epstein files. There's just a flight plan. There's just a flight list, a list of names that came to the island. Now we're finding that there's pictures. Goddamn, what's his name? Prince Charles just got arrested. Prince Andrew just got arrested. Now it's coming out, and a lot of people, over 10 people, have resigned, including somebody from India or Saudi Arabia or somewhere. 10 people have resigned. Now it's big business. There's coded language where they're saying they're referring to kids as furniture on Wayfair, a furniture website, and when the couch would be $2,000, they would say Caitlin. They would name the couch Caitlin, and it would be for $20,000. What is going on, Chris? From the outside perspective,
to do with Vance's couch fucking stuff.
from the outside perspective, Chris, what the hell going on?
It's so weird because MAGA was so obsessed with Pizzagate. You know what I mean? This whole fucking pedophile fucking scenario, pedophile trade scenario. And then when it gets exposed, they're fucking so willing to fucking ignore it. It's twisted. I don't know what to fucking say. You know what I mean? It's like and it's hard to sort out the fact from the fiction. You know what I mean? There's so much. It's a real big problem these days. You know what I mean? You're either in the situation of being misinformed or uninformed because it's so hard to sift through, and people so willingly accept a lot of things. They see some fucking meme online and stuff like that, and they just willingly, because it fits in with their belief system, they start sharing it and spreading the idea around. And one thing that Trump has successfully done is he has unhinged reality, with all his fucking talk about fake news and all his fucking lying and shit like that. It's literally like we're all kind of like hoping for the best, trying to make our way through this shit. It's madness. And with the Epstein files, it seems pretty clear. Trump was best friends with the guy. It's like so obvious. And he's even, been on record, like, what he thought was too young was under 13 and stuff, he said. And the way he talked about his own fucking daughter, over and over again, what a beautiful body he was. If it wasn't his daughter, he'd be dating her. And Stormy Daniels saying how he told her she reminded him of his daughter, and on and on and on again. You know what I mean? I think that, like he said in 2016, he could shoot somebody on Park Avenue and they'd still love him. And I think he could fuck a 13-year-old on Park Avenue and they'd still love him.
Let me ask you this. If we got Trump, Pam Bondi, and Cash Patel all sitting at a table saying there is no Epstein files, it's done and over with, less than 6 months ago, what do they need to be punished for?
Yeah, well, she perjured herself in front of the fucking Senate. You know what I mean? She lied under oath. It's like he's clearly implicated in the trials. There's this whole new series of FBI interviews with some woman that says she was, raped by him when she was 13, smacked around and shit. And then there's other stuff as well. So they clearly committed perjury there. You know what I mean? But the thing is they're the head of justice. That's the pinnacle of justice. Who's going to charge the head of the Department of Justice? They're the head. That's higher than any judge or anybody. So there's nobody that's in a position to charge her. What would have to happen is there'd have to be a new government in an election, hopefully, that is won. Although I doubt that you're going to see another fair election there in the United States myself. I'm really doubtful of it. But if they did and the Democrats got in, then a new attorney general could easily bring in charges, And this is what's a shame about this fucking Trump presidency is all that stuff was there from the last time, from January 6th. And the AG at the time in the U.S. just didn't fucking move. Merrick Garland and stuff, they didn't move on charges fast enough. They had like 4 years to fucking bring Trump up on charges based on evidence, and they had all the evidence there. Like it wasn't like the stuff there to bust him. And Merrick Garland just totally dropped the fucking ball. You know what I mean? And then Trump's president again, and here he is creating bullshit court cases and investigations to try and claim the 2020 election was stolen again, and it's all just a crock of shit.
So you saying Trump rigging the elections?
I think coming up, I'll be surprised. I don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? But I'll be surprised if coming up, if things happen fairly. They're already making moves for that. You know what I mean? They're already rewriting the districts and stuff like that. And then California responded by doing the same thing, right? To kind of balance it out, which they weren't expecting, right? But they're already doing shit. And they're already talking about having ICE at all the fucking election booths and stuff like that, voting stations to intimidate people not to vote and stuff. So all this talk about mail-in ballots, that's directed at this type of stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. I'd be surprised if, another thing could happen is, he starts a war with Iran, which could happen tonight, as soon as tonight even. You could call in War Measures Act, and then there's no fucking elections. Right? War Measures Act, way we go. Way she goes.
All right. I'm trying to find this post of all the people that had to resign because of
yeah, there's been lots all over, lots of former heads and stuff too. Had to fucking, the reaction around the rest of the world has been pretty swift.
Right. Nobody
is in jail except a woman in the United States, and nobody gets to talk too freely to her. So, and she's gone to some cushy jail already because she's got info on Trump, and she made some deal with Trump's former lawyer, who's now in the Department of Justice.
All right, Mr. Chip. Mr. Chris.
Let's talk about Israel, man, and that fucking shit situation with the United States, because I would say AIPAC and Israel is infiltrated both fucking parties in the United States, and this is why the Democrats are such a fucking piss poor. As much as I'm talking shit about Trump here, let's be clear, man. There's a long history of systemic evil in the United States that goes across both fucking parties. And a lot of that systemic evil is wound up with this relationship with Israel, which has brought the United States into countless wars and which has drained the American economy of billions of dollars, man.
Hold up. You double talking now, Mr. Chris, because you bring up the guy with the H word, and now you saying Trump is helping these people out. So which one is it? First, Trump is.
First of all, I think what's happening here is we have a confusion between Zionism and Judaism. Many Jewish people are not supporters of Israel. And some of the most vocal proponents include people like Noam Chomsky, Ilan Papa, Gabor Mate, Jon Stewart. It's Bernie Sanders. Just because you support people's right to practice a religion does not mean you practice that you have to believe that people have a right to a piece of land based on the idea that God gave it to one of their ancestors, 3,500 years ago, which is the basis of the land claim. You know what I mean?
So you don't
Israel hadn't been an independent.
Hold on, Uncle Chris. Let's go back and forth. So you don't think these small hats and peep how I'm changing my lingo, and hopefully you can do the same. you don't peep how these small hats is. I mean, you don't think that these small hats was implementing these same social pressures that they was doing to the H-man.
I don't know if I'm following what you're saying.
I got you. You don't think that you think the H-man was only mad at them for religious purposes? Have you not
Well,
heard his last speech?
actually, Hitler was on board with Zionists, and there was a whole movement. It's not like Hitler started with the gas chambers. You know what I mean? This is at the end of a long succession of things like that. But there was actually an agreement. I'm trying to remember the name of it right now, but you can find it online, between Nazis and Zionist Jews to send them over to Palestine. And the oh man, yeah. If you go to Grok and say what was the agreement between Nazis and Zionist Jews to send them to Palestine, you'll find it. I can't remember the name of it, but you know,
This basically what I'm saying. You kind of make it like what the H-man was dealing with was just religious. And I'm saying the same thing that the world is seeing from these people, maybe the H-man saw the same thing. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's not religious.
What other identification of Judaism and Jewish people are you suggesting besides religion, that it has to do with their genetic heritage of being Semites? Because they're not the
Now
only
I'm
Semites.
saying
Palestinians are
I'm
Semites as well,
saying
right?
I'm saying them practicing their religion in a country that don't give a damn is not the issue for H doing what he did. I'm saying maybe what the world is seeing is what the world is seeing with Israel is what H saw with the small hats. That's what I'm saying. Do
I'd
you
say
get
that
me? Do you get me?
the real reflection here is the concept of the chosen people and the master race are both troublesome. And you know, Hitler had the master race, and they wanted pure genetics and just a white only country. You know, is what it was all about: genetic purity, uh, um, and that included anybody with disabilities being, you know, not able to continue on their genetics and stuff, right? They were also exterminating people with mental disabilities and deformities and things like that, alongside Jewish people, gypsies, and homosexuals. You know, and the concept of the chosen people that see some sort of divine uh, um, superiority is not a healthy idea. And I think the real parallel here is in the way the Zionists of Israel have been dealing with the Palestinians, who, you know, and if you go to DNA and stuff like that, the genetics of both the Jewish people and the Palestinians go back to ancient Canaanites and stuff, right? So they come from the same area. They're all like got the same ancestry and stuff, right? So they're all Semites, right? And the idea that based on the Bible that one should be removed and the other and replace the other is fucking causing this huge upheaval in the Middle East, and it's a
I
bunch of nonsense.
maybe I didn't maybe you didn't understand what I was trying to say. Maybe you ain't catching up on my
Well,
language.
I felt like you were trying to say that the qualities we're seeing with the Israelites genociding these people and the cruel
Nah,
treatment.
nah, 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 nah. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying the H man wanted these people out of his spot, right?
Right.
And I'm saying it ain't have shit to do with religion. So when we look at
Well,
what,
what's the defining
hold up, one
factor
second,
then?
one second, one
Because
second.
it wasn't
I want
like he
you to
wanted
understand
everybody
me.
out
I
of
want you to
Germany.
understand me. One second. I'm saying the H man wanted these people out his spot, and it ain't had nothing to do with religion. When we look at what's going on around the world, people are looking at these people with this sort of disdain. They're putting social pressures. Is basically what I'm saying is they think they shit don't stink. You know what I'm saying? They underground. They whack-a-mole. They in the hiding crevices. You find out they own a lot of stuff under your nose. You would never find out until you read it. What I'm saying is the same social pressures that the H-man was dealing with in Germany, maybe what we seeing today with Rockefeller, Rothschilds, or whoever we want to say, these people that keep changing their names, maybe that's what the H word was dealing with. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. You know what I mean? I kind of think it's a little anti-Semitic. And, but there's no doubt that Jewish people, because of their being forced out of their homeland, they became a nation of merchants, and also being able to read, and literary and stuff like that is also really pivotal to Judaism. And so because they're like traveling around, merchants and stuff like that, they definitely became a lot of good business aspects in their, well, I don't know if it's good business, but there became a lot of knowledgeable business aspects in their thing. And it's what they built a lot of wealth out of through history and stuff, right? And that has been the cause of a lot of prejudice. Although I get the impression at the time of Hitler, I don't know that they were all like running the banks and shit like that. It didn't seem like that to me at the time of Hitler. It seemed to be more about ghettos, the Jewish ghettos, and the way, they're kind of impoverished living, and that they were bringing down the glory of the Reich, kind of like in a similar way to what Trump is saying about immigrants, right? You know what I mean? And this is the way the Nazi propaganda was directed as well, right? You know what I mean? At their dirtiness, their pestilence, that sort of thing. And similar way to how Trump is dealing, spewing out his immigrant propaganda. They're eating the cats and dogs, bullshit like that.
The slippery slope is you have Mexican Americans that voted for Trump riding with this, we don't need no illegal immigrants in our country. So that's the slippery slope.
And then some of those people all of a sudden are having their like sisters-in-laws and stuff like that picked up by ICE, and they're changing their tune. Like, you know what I mean? The Latinos for America woman head or something like that. I think her husband was carted off recently. And I think some big Cubans for Trump as well had one of their things. So it's come back to haunt them. You know what I mean?
I disagree. I think we gotta have an understanding. Either you for illegal immigrants or you not.
Oh, it's not just illegal immigrants getting picked up by ICE, man. Lots of these people are deep into the legal process. They're not being given any court cases and stuff like that. They're in the middle. They're picking them up at immigration hearings and stuff like that as they're pursuing the legal process. So there's not very many of them are actually illegal immigrants. They're not landed immigrants, but they're people that are here and that have now pursued a legal process to stay in the United States. And a lot of them are under that. And some of them are even American citizens. So that's false that ICE is just picking up illegal immigrants.
I'm not saying ICE is picking up illegal immigrants. ICE is picking up whoever don't show their ID to them. That's who they picking up.
And the reality is too, it's like a lot of immigrants got taken out under Obama, but it wasn't done with the same sort of methods and shit like that. They were following the rule of law, but more people were more immigrants overall than in Trump's 1 year, and Obama's full term went out under Obama, right? You know what I mean? And so there is ways to do it where you're not creating all this type of problem. Personally, I love it when I see stuff like the fucking Black Panthers out. walking the streets armed to the fucking hilt. I think that's just fucking awesome. I'd be all over that if I was a black person in that era. I'd be like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm fucking in. All the power to all the people, man.
I think there's like I said, we know for the past for his 4 years, Biden 4 years, and now his 1 year, we know what's going on. So with this whole illegal immigrant thing, if you was for illegal immigration, when him, you gotta understand, Mr. Chris, he said he gonna build a wall.
Yeah, it's not like the Democrats were for illegal immigration, though. It's not like it was like
that was for illegal immigration. Yes, it was. What you thought he was building a wall for nothing?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's not like the Democrats are against illegal are for illegal immigrants. Nobody was like
they gave them food stamp. They gave them a stimulus package as soon as they came, so we can't tell. They get better food stamps than a single mother with no job.
Are you sure about that? Ask Rock that. Ask Rock that question now, and see what it says.
We ain't gotta ask Grok. We on the streets. We ain't gotta ask Grok. Didn't you just say that Elon Musk tampered with Grok? Didn't you just say that? So we ain't asking Grok shit.
Well, okay, ask
ChatGPT. Hold up.
Ask ChatGPT because these things are
hold up, Mr. Chris. You cut me out. This is what I'm saying. Trump went so far as to build a motherfucking wall. And you know what? He said, I'm going to make them pay for it. Did it get done during his first term? Hell no. That's how crazy that idea was. Yeah. So him coming back in the office, you think we surprised or confused about any of this? Mr. Chris, he said he going to build a wall to separate the United States from Mexico. You know where I stay? I stay in Texas. This used to be Mexico. So you got to understand, him coming into his first term saying stuff like that, we already understood it. So for people, he had a high, when he just got reelected, he had a high Mexican male population that voted for him. What I'm saying is, if you was for not having illegal immigrants in your country before ICE ain't doing nothing to change their decision. You either got when something arises, you have action and you have non-action. What we seeing with ICE, what we seeing with Venezuela, this is Trump. What Trump is using as action. Go ahead, Mr. Chris.
And you think that that's good? Like going into another country, taking it over and selling their oil, like that's good in your opinion?
From my understanding, I heard that they were saying millions of people was fleeing Venezuela because he was keeping people in poverty or something like that.
Well, there's definitely poverty and shit like that, but it's not like the people of Venezuela are cheering on an American takeover and invasion. That's just fucking American propaganda. You don't get that type of propaganda outside of the United States.
They saying he rigged the elections, actually.
Well, it's like they have the same people in power. It's not easy to change.
You want me to ask Google? You want me to ask Google, did the Venezuelan president rig the election?
Well, whether that's true or not, is that is that how we're going to deal with other countries? Is going to take them over? Like he's not holding.
As an American,
it's not like Trump's instilling democratic elections in Venezuela. That's not happening. What he's done is he's removed the president. The vice president is still there. The whole fucking infrastructure is still there. Only person that's gone is the president, and the United States is calling the shots. But it's the same. It's the same government. So where else do you think the U.S. should go in and take over? You know what I mean? It's like that just doesn't make sense.
I'm gonna say this. The only reason why I said that because we're gonna act like Maduro is innocent. This is what I'm saying. I don't think
America's not the fucking world police. The way that you deal with shit like that is fucking sanctions, World Court, ICC, United Nations.
I agree.
America's a fucking pirate. You know what I mean? And you shouldn't be cheering that on. That's fascism in a fucking nutshell.
Nah, this what we gotta understand, Mr. Chris. America been doing this for so long that you should be used to it by now. You as a
At
Canadian,
least before they tried to kind of like
you
cover
as
it
a
up a
Canadian.
little bit. This is the most blatant. This is the most blatant where we're doing this and there's no talk about it. It's like, you know, before they go over with Iran.
Gaddafi with Obama, Gaddafi. Did you
Yeah,
just
yeah,
know?
you know, all this. It's not like I'm saying America's got a great history or anything. I'm just saying Trump's out of the frying pan into the fire. You know, this is the fucking the bat shittiest it's ever been, and the most dangerous. And at least like guys like fucking Obama were fucking intelligent human beings. You know what I mean? Obama's like, you know, probably if you met Obama, you think he's a pretty good guy. You know, he's not a fucking, you know, he's at least he's a little cool and shit. You know what I mean? I'm disappointed in his fucking performance. I'm disappointed in his performance as a president, but Obama's like a fucking human being.
You don't think Trump a cool guy?
Fuck no, man. He's a fucking bloated fucking lying piece of shit that got rich by fucking claiming bankruptcy, 7 bankruptcies, by fucking not paying contractors, by breaking fucking contracts. You know what I mean? The whole fucking trade agreement that we're having right now is because Trump broke the fucking contract he made in his first fucking term, and he fucking broke it. And now we're fucking having to renegotiate everything. He's just a fucking crook, man. He's like, I have as much love for him as I'd have for a fucking guy like Al Capone. You know, fucking Hitler, fucking Mussolini. He's a fucking fascist, fat, fucking evil piece of shit.
All right, so Vulture says, Wavy, ask him, can we send illegals to Nova Scotia? So
Canada's got a great fucking. Canada's full of fucking immigrants, man.
We send our illegal immigrants.
We love our fucking immigrants here, man.
Hold up, 1 second. Let me ask you, can we send our illegal immigrants to Nova Scotia?
Oh, you mean like when Hitler was like chasing the fucking Jews out of?
We ain't talking about the H-man. We ain't talking about the H-man or the small hats.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this right now because this is what fucking Hitler did. He put fucking Jews
talking about the H-man. You don't want to answer this.
Let me finish, man.
You don't want to answer this question? We ain't talking about the H-man. It's a yes or no question.
The United States said no. We're not going to take those immigrants, right?
It's a yes or no question. Can we send our immigrants to Nova Scotia? Yes or no?
Sure, man. Immigrants could come here. Fucking they come already, man. We have lots of immigrants.
All right.
It's like
so let me say this.
Not a bunch of anti-immigrant people. America's built. You're all fucking immigrants. We're all immigrants here, man. This is like a land that belonged to Native Indians. You know what I mean? So we're all fucking immigrants, and America's built by fucking immigrants. So this idea, and a lot of these immigrants are displaced by American foreign policy. You take a look at people like from Afghanistan, and fucking even like people from South America and shit like that. It's because of fucking America's shit around the world. And America, you know, I always fucking hate it when fucking Americans, you shouldn't be talking about America. You're fucking Canadian. Well, your fucking country's threatening to fucking annex mine, man. You know, your country fucks with other countries' politics more than any country in the fucking world. And the United States is the only country out of all the Muslim countries, the Hindu country, all of them that has ever dropped an atomic bomb. And they did it twice. They already fucking beat the shit out of Japan before they dropped any of those fucking bombs. Japan was already lost the fucking war, and they fucking dropped that fucking bomb. You're not going to make us the first state because we're not a bunch of fucking weenie fucking fascist bootlickers here in Canada. So go ahead and fucking do the fucking Zig Heil and celebrate your fascist fucking state, but that's not going to fly here in Canada, man.
All right, so let me say this, Mr. Chris. My boy Martin in the building. Shalom, much love to the brother Chris Bennett, the man who been revealing the world to reveal it to the world.
Blessings, brother. Tree of life is the way, man, and we're in that fucking time right fucking now, man. This is the fucking time of the tree of life.
Hey, let me say this to you, Mr. Chris. I don't think a country should be playing tank boss when it comes to other countries. I agree with you. It should be sanctions. You know what I'm saying? It should be world order, and they should be dealt with accordingly. I agree with that. I don't remember who came on our panel, but they basically said that Venezuelans were fleeing to the neighboring country. I can't remember the name of it, what it was. They said they was fleeing to somewhere else, and by the hundreds of thousands, half of millions, because of what this president was doing. We looked up was that a fact, and it was a fact. So is Trump capitalizing off of invading an oil country? Yes. You know what I'm saying? I don't disagree with most of what you're saying, Mr. Chris. I'm just saying us as Americans, we know who Trump is. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like he gonna fool us. You feel me?
Well, I say shame on anybody that fucking voted for him. You know what I mean? Fucking shame on you, man. You fucking voted in a fucking monster fucking pedophile, a fascist, a fucking modern fucking Hitler. So fucking shame on you. I think he's the fucking Antichrist, man. To be honest with you.
All right, so yeah, let's go back to what you were saying about that specific subject. Trump is actually for the small hats. You know what I'm saying? When the H man was trying to get rid of him. So it's a difference there. You know, Trump is actually with him.
I think that you know that's true, right? I think that that's true, but I think that, you know, like a term like Zio-Nazi could be applied today in order to describe what's happening over in Israel. And it's a term I use myself, man, because I would say my interactions with Israelis has really been like some of the most racist, and I'm like, you know, hateful fucking racism, like trying to justify bombing children and shit like that, right? You know what I mean?
So hold up, Mr. Chris. So you gotta think, when have you not put two and two together that somebody is running America that is not in America? Have you not put two and two together?
Oh, I think that fucking AIPAC has incredible. You know what AIPAC is, right?
More than AIPAC.
You know what AIPAC is, right?
More than AIPAC.
Well, more than AIPAC. Well, I think, you know, Israel works through AIPAC, but Israel has, you know, they can just call up fucking Trump or whoever. You know what I mean? It's pretty sure Epstein was Mossad.
We talk about anything that got their hands on.
You know, James Maxwell was like a fucking Mossad asset. Her dad was a Mossad asset. Fucking Epstein, you know, it was like a fucking honey trap where they were getting blackmail on shit like that. That's how Mossad works around the world. You've already seen situations where they're, you know, threatened to blackmail people in the UN and shit like that are speaking out against Israel. So that's pretty fucking clear. That's why I think the big problem, you're not gonna have a democracy there in the United States again until you purge AIPAC right out of the fucking, and a lot of other fucking foreign influence as well, not just fucking AIPAC, but and a lot of lobby groups and fucking billionaires like fucking Elon Musk and Peter Thiel. Until you purge all that fucking shit out of your politics, you're never going to see a democracy there again.
Got you. So I think this hate that you have for Trump should really be going at Netanyahu. I don't understand how you don't see what's going on.
You fucking hate Netanyahu. What are you talking about, man? I probably post more fucking anti-Israel stuff than fucking anybody I fucking know, man. Netanyahu's like a fucking total fucking shyster. He propped up Hamas to foil two-state talks with the Palestinian Authority. And that's why Hamas was in fucking power in fucking Gaza, because he propped them up. Because the Palestinian Authority was making progress with two-state talks. A former prime minister fucking of Israel was assassinated because he was in on these two-state fucking talks, right? You know what I mean? And so it's not like I'm fucking giving fucking, he's just as fucking evil as fucking Trump. But fucking Israel would not exist without fucking billions of American dollars and fucking American weapons. So they're fucking birds of a fucking feather, two fucking evil fucking partners in genocide.
All right.
Probably, you know, I would be scared to talk like I talk in the fucking United States right now.
Hey, that's why I don't talk how you talk.
I hear that.
That's why I don't talk how you talk.
I'm here for it, man, because in Canada, we can fucking talk about fucking ICE being the fucking Gestapo. We can fucking dox fucking ICE agents, and we can talk about fucking Trump being a fucking modern Hitler.
Overstood. Let me show you this picture real quick. All right. This is a 90 foot tall
Hanuman.
statue.
Hanuman, the monkey god.
Yes. What are we looking at here?
This is the monkey god. I think he was Krishna's greatest devotee, as I recall. Hanuman. What about it?
I was looking at his face, and then I started looking at his legs.
Well, he's a monkey man.
Yeah, I was. Say it again.
A monkey man. He's an ancient god. It's a Hindu god, Hanuman.
Okay. Is this normal to?
Well, this is a deity that goes back. I don't know, probably a couple thousand years. Anyways, I'm guessing maybe longer. I don't know exactly when Hanuman originated, but it goes back, I think, to at least 2,000 years, probably a little over that.
So it's the squirrel and the monkey man.
Well, there's no squirrel. He's a monkey man.
You don't see this squirrel right here?
Where is the squirrel? Oh, I don't know what the squirrel. I'm not sure about the squirrel there. I don't know what he's probably maybe his pal or something. I'm not sure. I don't know about the squirrel. I know like the elephant-headed god Ganesh, he's got like a pet rat, right?
Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe that's like this guy's got a squirrel. Shiva, he's got a bull. His bull's named Nandi. You know, Shiva's the god I like because he's the god of ganja.
Who?
Shiva.
Okay.
Shiva is the oldest continually worshipped god on earth.
Okay.
And he's intimately intertwined with cannabis.
Okay. So when we look at, have you ever seen a people praise a monkey?
Well, Hanuman.
Besides this,
other monkey gods. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if there was other monkey gods. You know, I think maybe in Buddhism there might be something like that, but I'm not sure. My interest is cannabis, so I know about all the stuff related to cannabis and religion. I like monkeys, though. I do like monkeys. I always wanted them.
Quit smoking, huh?
I always like monkeys. You know, there's chimps and stuff that smoke weed, right?
The monkeys weren't smoking?
I've seen it. You can find video of it online. You know what I mean? Puffing with guys. There's a couple of stories. Just like one of the chimps, they taught sign language to the people that were taking care of him, got him into smoking weed. And a buddy of mine, Bruce Peaker, he was with some guys that had an orangutan, and the orangutan would fucking hit the joint when it went around the circle. So definitely, you know, I kind of think, you know, it's like you got to think how cannabis affected early man, right? You know what I mean? It's probably what helped to bring us out of the caves and into the houses and shit in a way, you know, and creating new thoughts. And
let me get your perspective on this. That the people that's in Egypt right now, Arab Republic of Egypt right now, the people that's there, are those the same people that was there when the pyramids were being built, or were they blacker? Or were they black?
Oh man, you know, there's definitely like an idea that they were blacker. I think I was trying to tell you to talk to this guy. He lives in my town. Ancient Black Civilizations Matter.
What's his name?
He goes by Procopius Canning. He doesn't like to have his real name out, but I can hook you up with him if you ever want to talk to him. Well, there's definitely like, you know, like there's stuff like Akhenaten. He certainly seems to appear to have like blacker features, and Egypt's on the African continent, right? You know, and there's indications that pygmies were sometimes there and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I would imagine there's DNA tests on ancient mummies. Uh, um, and that's what would tell you, you know what I mean? You know, whether they look like it or not, or whatever, the DNA from those mummies would tell you what those people were. So
When
I haven't really looked into that too much, right? You
do
know
you
what I
have
mean?
do y'all have a big Black Hebrew Israelite population out there?
There's like Black Hebrew Israelites. I don't know about not Hebrew Israelites, no. But the town I live in, Shelburne, Nova Scotia, is in the Book of Negro. And this town was a spot where Black loyalists came. This is before the American Revolution. The Brits said that they would give any slaves freedom that came to Canada and left the United States before the American Revolution, and a bunch came up here. So there's like a Black community in the town I'm in that goes back 300 years or so.
Yeah, I think I got a comment. The brother Volta says Harriet Tubman went to Nova Scotia.
Yeah, part of the Underground Railroad, I believe.
Okay, so
There's a Black museum in my town and stuff, right? And it's just a small town.
okay, so when you hear brothers, I'm guessing since you don't see it where you at, when you hear online rhetoric of brothers saying, Black brothers saying we are the true Jews, we are the true Israelites, the white people will serve us in the kingdom. God is cursing us right now, but once we die and go to heaven, the white man will be at our footstool serving us. They will be our slaves. When you hear that type of rhetoric, um, would that be historical with the Bible setting? I like how you said Egypt is in Africa.
I think that type of stuff goes back to guys like Marcus Garvey and people that were Bible taught, you know. But, you know, at the same time, Ethiopia is, I think, the oldest Christian country in the world, right? You know what I mean? Ethiopia's got a whole separate Christianity that developed alongside, you know, Roman Catholicism and shit like that, right? And there's a lot of ancient Christian relics and stuff in Ethiopia. So Ethiopia, there's Africa's definitely got a long history with of it. But you know, I kind of, you know, I'm like, when it comes to stuff like that, I'm like, you know, DNA tests and stuff, right? You know what I mean? It's like genetics can tell us a lot. So there's a lot there, and that's what I was saying about Israel and Jews and Palestinians and whose land is it and stuff like that. We can't go by, you know, a supposed promise from the sky god Yahweh to the fucking goat herder Abraham that this is your land. You know what I mean? If there's a, you know, and to go back, you know, like Bronze Age fucking borders and shit like that. You know, Israel had been an independent country like 2,600 years ago. Was the last time it was independent. After that, it was ruled by all sorts of other nations, fucking Assyrians, Babylonians, Persians, fucking Greeks, Romans, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And all sorts of fucking different people came through that fucking territory. So it was just a few hundred years, 2,600 years ago that they were there. And that's, you know, a pretty piss poor fucking basis for a fucking land claim where there's people that had been there for fucking generations, you know? But at the same time, there's like fucking 10 million people there now, and they're not going anywhere. And so you have to figure out how you're going to fucking deal with that. And the choices is either a two-state solution or what Alain Pape, a well-known Jewish historian, has suggested, one secular democratic state where everybody votes, Palestinians and Jews, and it's not based on religion and theocracy like the state of Israel is, where it's a lot of power depends on if you're Jewish or not. And my answer to the fucking situation would be to send in the United Nations, create borders between UN run borders between Israel and Palestinian regions, like the West Banks and Gaza. Fucking bring down Netanyahu. Fucking, you know, Canada. If Netanyahu came to Canada, he'd be fucking arrested. Canada, yeah, that's right. You can look this up, man. Canada respects the International Criminal Court. And Netanyahu and any other fucking Israeli war criminals that come to Canada, they'll be fucking arrested, man. Not like the fucking United States where they stand up and fucking cheer for him at the fucking White House, you know, both parties. So that's fucking big. There's a fucking lot of differences between our fucking countries, and you're hearing a lot of bullshit about Canada over there in the fucking United States, and it's fucking bullshit, man. It's propaganda against fucking Canada, and you might want to check out like Canadian news once in a while, European news and shit like that if you're in America, because you are the victims of fucking the heaviest fucking propaganda around, you know. And what's happened with the networks down there in the United States, and I'm not just talking Fox News, I'm talking NBC and the fucking rest of them. They're all fucking taken over by these fucking MAGA supporters and fucking Zionist supporters, and they're feeding fucking people a pile of fucking bullshit there in the United States.
Most definitely, most definitely. All right, Mr. Chris, where do we go when we die?
Oh man, you know, I used to just kind of like think that the idea of any sort of like afterlife or reincarnation was just the desire, you know, just the fear of death, man. You know, it's fucking horrible to fucking think of, right? You know what I mean? For a long time. And then I kind of, you know, started thinking, well, there's an aspect of consciousness that is common in us all. We're all like fucking talking in our head and telling a story, right? Who are we telling that fucking story to? That's the common thing. And it's like the basic awareness, attention, pure fucking clean consciousness, right? And if you can drop your own fucking personality enough and undo your ego, and this is what things like yoga are directed at, stopping meditation, at stopping your mind from chattering, stopping your body from feeling. And so you can just sit there and just be your breath, that in out breath. And that's this fucking pure consciousness. And in that sense, we're all that, right? And all that we fucking lose at death is the memory of our of the story we've been telling ourselves. You literally have to be taught to tell yourself the story. You're born pure consciousness. You don't have memories of your baby because your consciousness hasn't got words in your brain yet. You have to be taught to talk, and then you're taught to be somebody. What's your name? How old are you? My name's Sean. I'm 2. You know, and you start to identify with that, but that's just a story you're fucking telling yourselves and others are putting into you. It's information in, information out, and it's always fucking changing. And even your body on a physical level, you fucking eat food and that food processes in your body and it becomes molecules and cells, and your skin falls off and your hair falls off. And every 7 years, you've gone through a whole fucking complete cycle of cellular fucking change. So physically, you're not even made out of the same shit anymore. Same thing with your brain. Your information in, information out. So if, you know, the idea of arts like alchemy, yoga, meditation, or getting down to that pure level of consciousness so that you can just be that. When you die, you just transfer into that, right? But I did have this fucking really fucking weird fucking experience with, I don't know if I'd call it reincarnation or not, but the street I grew up on when I was a kid in North Vancouver in Deep Cove, when I was a kid, I thought I saw this same ghost twice, right? You know, and I wrote it off later as an act of imagination of a kid. I was walking up the street and I see this guy leaning on the wall, and I look up at him and I look down again, and I look up and I see he's like a photo negative, and I can just see right fucking through him, you know? And so I was like terrified. So for fucking after that, every time I'd have to go by this place because it was like a one-way street, with a dead end, I had closed my eyes and I'd run up the fucking middle of the street until I was half a block away. And then I'd open my eyes and not look back, you know, and I did this for a couple of years. And then one time I fucking did it again. And I fucking ran by, and just before I got home, I looked back and there was the same fucking thing walking up the fucking street behind me. And I was like fucking terrified, you know, and luckily we moved not long after that, you know. And also another thing that happened on my street is I said there was this woman that was a witch and she lived in this house. And I was telling the other kids, got to one of my friend's moms, and he took me up to the old lady's house to show me she wasn't a witch, right? And years later, when I got into studying cannabis and religion, I was reading about this guy, Aleister Crowley, fucking famous kind of dark magician. And he had this magical son who was like his main fucking a student, you know, like his hire of his magic. And he had written a book to this guy in 2018 called Liber Aleph. And in Liber Aleph, there's a fucking chapter in there called the Herbo Sanctissimo Arabico. And it's all about sacred use of cannabis. And I came across this after I'd already fucking been into it. And I was like, whoa, this is really cool. And right before it, it had an anagram for another guy I've been studying who was this 15th century monk, Bachelor of Medicine, Francois Rabelais, who wrote all this esoteric stuff about cannabis under this name Pantagruelian. And I saw this anagram and I put it back together and it was Francois Rabelais. And I was like, holy shit, he fucking knows about this fucking Francois Rabelais guy and all this esoteric stuff about cannabis I've been doing, right? And I read the beginning at the front of the book. It said from the wild and magical beast 666 to his magical son 777. And like I bought this book and another book on Soma. And when I was paying, the change came up. I noticed the other book I bought was Be Here Now, and the price was $3.33. And I was looking at that. Then I ran my stuff through, and my change came up $7.77. And I thought, well, that's kind of a neat thing. And then I went out and I read that beginning there where it said this guy's 777. And then later still, I found out this fucking guy had lived on the street that I fucking grew up on, about 3 or 4, that right where I saw the fucking ghost, and his wife. These were fucking people that were into magic. And this is back in the 40s and 50s. He died in 50 before I was even born, right? I actually thought his wife was the fucking witch at the fucking place. Like somehow I fucking knew, right? And I've always had like a lot of, it's like when I've been researching cannabis and stuff, and I just knew where to look. I would, see something. And it's like that stuff about cannabis in the Hebrew religion, man. I knew that I was talking about that, fucking 3 decades before they discovered the archaeology for it in 2020 somehow. And I fucking placed it exactly how it was used in that exact context, in that exact frame and everything. Right. And so there's kind of like, it's made me wonder if somehow they left some sort of impression or what. It's not like I have memories of past lives or anything like that, but that was kind of uncanny for me, that the guy would be right there on my fucking street, But, maybe it's just some fucking weird coincidence, right? You know what I mean? You can write it off like that. It's easy enough to do. But I also got like, it wasn't just like seeing it in the book around the same time. And I kept all this stuff too, right? I got a check that allowed me to publish my first book, Green Gold. And the check number was 0777033308. And I was like, fucking, I'd already been talking about the 777 thing. And when I came here to Nova Scotia, I got my fucking license plate, 777. You know what I mean? So I don't know if even that's even reincarnation. It's more like synchronicity, right? And it kind of fits in with the idea that we're all God, because then if we're all God, God can interact through any sort of series of events to bring something about, right? You know what I mean? And I kind of feel like that's when I talk about like we're in a fucking apocalypse, and I'm not a fucking Christian. I don't believe we're in being a Christian, but the idea that we're in apocalypse, I think that has to do with the collective belief in the apocalypse. There's some aspects of it, like say the formation of Israel, which was pushed through by people that believed in the apocalypse because it fit with the apocalypse, right? And other decisions that have been made in the U.S. government, say during the Gulf War, were under advice from people like Jerry Falwell and other evangelicals who believed in the apocalypse and pointed to certain historical events needing to take place for the restoration of Israel, the restoration of Jerusalem as a state of Israel, for the Messiah to come about. And so these people actively try to force the apocalypse to happen by taking political actions to take that. But there's other weird things that I would say fall into that under sort of synchronicity, right? Like there's a revelation where it talks about a star named Wormwood falling into the waters and making them bitter, right? And what's interesting about that is Chernobyl, where they had that big nuclear accident. Chernobyl is actually the Ukrainian word for wormwood. And it had the third largest lake there, which was fucking contaminated by radioactivity, right? You know what I mean? And so it's kind of a weird parallel. And then another weird parallel that I've seen is like one of the four horsemen is wearing a crown and shooting arrows, and he's spreading pestilence, disease, right? Well, the coronavirus, that means crown, and it was the spike. It was like had the special spike in it that let it. It was just kind of like an arrow, and so it's like this other weird fucking parallel, right? And then with fucking Trump, there's like Revelations 13:3, where the fucking Antichrist is fucking survives a fucking mortal head wound, and everybody thinks it's a fucking miracle, like fucking Trump when he got shot in the fucking ear, right? You know what I mean? And the Antichrist fools all the fucking Christians. They think he's a great Christian leader and he brings world peace and all this. I fucking ended 8 wars, all this type of shit. And I kind of see it as wound up with this aspect of the collective consciousness rather than being like prophecy or something like that. Maybe it's just stone thinking, right? You know what I mean? Maybe I'm just fucking reading too much into it. But it really does. I don't think you have to be religious to be worried about the fucking end of the world these days.
So basically, when I asked you, where do you go when you die, to sum all that up, what would you say?
I don't think. I think you just fucking here on Earth, born into a fucking endless cycle of fucking rebirth as every human, and all fucking human suffering and all human pleasures connected. And so you want to do everything you can to fucking prepare the fucking world to be a fucking place of beauty instead of a poison, toxic, war fucking strewn hell. And really, you have that power right now, man. You have so much power. If the pen is mightier than the sword, then the personal computer is mightier than the atomic bomb. And you have the power, each one of you, to go out there and make change. And it's only if you act on that fucking power that it becomes a reality, man. You know, and it takes fucking courage, man. And I respect anybody that acts on that power, man.
Hey, that was I couldn't have asked for a better answer. I'm gonna clip that up, by the way. I'm gonna let you know that's probably that's the gospel in this whole interview, what you just said right there. What about, do you think some people could come back as animals? Or if you're an animal and you die, you're gonna come back as an animal. If you're a human and you die, you're gonna come back.
I really don't know, man. It's not like, yeah, I don't know, man. I fucking sure love animals. You know what I mean? Like it's not like I think animals are fucking have consciousness. I think they're on their own journey of evolution, you know, their own like species journey of fucking evolution and going into it. And like, it's just like stuff like instinct, right? What's instinct? Instinct is like behavior that is somehow genetically passed down, right? You know what I mean? So like a sea elephant can get up and fucking go fishing, or a deer or a horse can get up and walk. They don't even have to be taught, right? You know what I mean? Somehow they know how to do it, right? You know? And so there's a certain aspect of consciousness that is passed down genetically and is inherent. And so it's obviously something that's coming from our ancestors, right? You know what I mean? And there's also stuff like herds of animals.
like an animal that know to attack the neck.
Yeah, you know, just it knows what to do, man. It doesn't have to be taught. You know what I mean? It knows how to fuck, knows how to reproduce. Nobody's going, okay, here's how it all works, the birds and the bees, and you know, they're taught. See, we have the same brain system as other mammals, but we have this huge forebrain and stuff like that. But the inner parts, the pineal gland, hippocampus, all this stuff's in other animals. And so instinct's in there, right? But it's covered up with this huge forebrain and stuff like that. So it's not as prominent in our activity as it is in something like fucking sea elephants or deers or shit like that, right? But it's there. And so, you know, you see things like herds of animals, flocks of birds, schools of fish. There's obviously some collective aspect to it, right? And we have electromagnetic fields which go outside of our body, which they can measure, you know what I mean? Actual electromagnetic, but we can measure them to a certain degree, but who knows if we had the right instruments, how far that fucking extends, you know what I mean? I definitely find, like, I've been in long-term relationships numbers of times, and I do feel like, you get to a point where you know what the other person's going to fucking say before they fucking say it, or what's going through their fucking mind and stuff like that, right? So there's, some sort of aspect there, that sounds quasi, I'm not talking like proved by science yet, but it seems to me to be there, and may yet come to be proved by science. I suspect it will, that we're only on the edge of understanding a lot of this stuff. But who's to say that other cultures didn't have certain technologies that we don't have? And I'm not talking like computers and machines, you know what I mean? I'm talking, it could be herbs and techniques of meditation and shit like that. Who's to say they didn't have certain technologies to tap into some of that type of stuff?
Or as easy or as simple as using a rock for different than how we use rocks.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't know everything, man. You know what I mean? Those people, those civilizations, they were around a lot fucking longer than ours. You talk about places like Egypt. They were a non-broken up civilization for fucking thousands of years. You know what I mean? And, I don't think that stuff like the pyramids necessarily means extraterrestrial aid. It could just be, they knew a fuck of a lot about moving rocks around, like they've been at it, fucking leverages and ropes and shit, man. They had it down.
It sound like self-determination. Like we putting our mind to it, we gonna fucking do it.
Move mountains. That's the fucking thing that moves mountains. It's not faith that fucking moves mountains. It's fucking ingenuity, man.
Like the guy, I think from it's this the guy that built the Burj Khalifa. You know what I'm saying? At first, that country was ran on oil. He was like, hey, we're gonna get off of it, but we're gonna make everybody else need it. You know what I'm saying? He built that goddamn Burj Khalifa, that tall ass skyscraper, turned the desert into New York. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now it's a tourist spot, and they ain't relying off of oil how other countries is. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's most definitely self-determination having that idea. And I ain't gonna lie, Mr. Chris, you've been dropping some gems that is trustworthy, my brother. You've been dropping. We got Angel in the building. Angel say, "What's up, Yahweh blessings."
Blessings to you, brother.
Got the Yakad in the building. All right, Mr. Chris. So I got a few more questions for you. Do you think relationships is enjoy this goddamn moment, or you think we should be out here looking for a long-term partner to die with?
Man, I've lived both fucking heavily. You know what I mean? Like I've fucking, played polyamory and all of it, you know what I mean? And had, multiple girlfriends going and shit like that. But I'm really loving the relationship I'm in right now. I've been with the same woman for about, we've known each other for 12 years. And at first I wasn't, ready to settle down, and it was causing a lot of problems. And finally she split, and I realized how much I missed her. And
let's go, Mr. Chris.
We've been together for 8 years, and it's like, you build a fucking future with somebody, man. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you can't always find that. And you know what? I don't think celibacy is great. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with exploring your sexuality and honing your skills and stuff, but be honest about it, man. The big thing is fucking honesty. And don't be a fucking shit and lie to people and make them think they're getting something that they're not getting, you know what I mean? And cheating and stuff like that. And I've been on both sides of that cheating coin, and it's fucking wrong, man. There's just no getting around it. And when you're living a double life, when you're hiding shit from people that you love and care about, it causes a split in your own consciousness and your own personality, and it's damaging to you and your soul and your singularity of being. And so don't fucking do it. You know what I mean? So be honest, whatever you're fucking doing, But I really find there's something, if you can find somebody to love in this fucking time and this fucking scary fucking world that we live in, that's about the best blessing that there is.
I like that, man. Hey, y'all can't say Uncle Chris is not dropping them goddamn gems. All right, Mr. Chris, your kid, a teenager, just finished ninth grade. You finding bandanas and goddamn bullets in his dresser in his room. You finding goddamn gang knowledge notebooks in his closet. Um, you have a talk with him. Hey son, you following down the wrong goddamn path, brother. You following down the damn wrong path. And your son buck up at you and he's ready to fight you. How do you go about that situation when the laws in your state is you can't put your goddamn hands on your kid? Your ass gonna go to jail.
Well, I don't know that, I think a lot of people that got whooped, I don't know if that's the fucking answer. I think really it's trying to fucking build some trust and love and respect and care. You know what I mean? Like fucking probably if you beat the shit out of them, that's just going to make them double down on it, It's tough, you know what I mean? I feel like I have an estranged son, man. You know what I mean? Like it's one area of my life that I feel like I really fucking just didn't go well for me, and I haven't talked to him in 8 years, and I wish I had been wish I had been better at being a parent and stuff, but I was really caught up in a lot of the stuff I was doing, activism and shit, and I dropped the fucking ball, you know what I mean? And so I'm not really in the position to give somebody much advice, but one thing you might consider is where you are and where those type of things are coming into as an influence, because it's going to be hard to break your kid away from that when that's what's in the fucking neighborhood and at his school and shit like that. You know what I mean? And you might consider doing what you can to get out in the country or some fucking other fucking place where you can redirect their attention into some better things, because there is better things out there, but it's hard in the fucking city. And if you're not wearing colors, and if you're not in a fucking gang, a lot of times you're going to be a fucking victim, man. You know what I mean? You're going to be either fucking at the dinner table eating, or you're going to be fucking on the fucking table being fucking eaten, and that's the reality of these situations. And a lot of times too, it's important to remember, it's not like these people don't have things like loyalty and honor. It's just fucking placed fucking differently. A lot of that type of stuff is built into it. I think the best you can fucking try to do is talk to them about it, and reason with them and fucking show them, you know what I mean? I think programs like Scared Straight, where you fucking go to a fucking prison and fucking see what fucking prison life's like, and that sort of shit can sometimes help bring kids around, and also find people that have been through it and came out the other side, and make allegiances with them and find out how they fucking did it, and what they can do for you, man.
Most definitely. Hey man, you dropping them gems. Let me see. I'm about to come at you with a curveball. Can you give me a story to your knowledge? Maybe you ain't go through it, but to your knowledge, can you give me an extortion story?
Huh. Well, the government takes my fucking income tax off my fucking check every paying for all sorts of shit, man. They fucking wanted to put me in jail with my own money. I've had like run-ins with fucking more like fucking, my problem has been like fucking criminals trying to get into what we're doing, and that sort of thing, rather than extortion, you know what I mean? So when we were running Pot TV, we had some fucking gangsters fucking trying to get in with us and get, promo their fucking products and shit like that. And where we had our fucking store, fucking a well-known bike gang, I won't say the name of, had a operation selling weed, and we were promoting the legalization of it and holding rallies, and sometimes they felt that conflicted with what they were doing, and so they'd get kind of heavy with us and shit, right? But for the most part, I think Canada's not the same. Like like there's not like guns and shit around. You know what I mean? Like I've never been somewhere. I saw a guy get shot outside a bar once in Vancouver, but I've never been like at a bar or out and somebody's like packing a gun and fucking has a, you know what I mean? That type of shit's like just never been around where I was and stuff. And so it's not the same sort of shit you're probably running into.
Most definitely, most definitely. Man, we about to go ahead and close out. I appreciate you. You gave me an hour and 50. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? And you gave me a whole bunch of gems.
good.
Tell the people,
Happy to talk anytime, brother.
most definitely. Tell the people where they can find you at, what you got coming up. Put us in your mix.
Sure, yeah. You can find me on Facebook. That's a good place to follow. If you're more into the political type of stuff, I post a lot of my political stuff on Facebook, and my Instagram's more, I surf and skateboard and shit. Sometimes a lot of more of that type of stuff. And I have a Substack, Chris Bennett. You should be able to find me if you search Chris Bennett Cannabis Substack. You should be able to find me and then follow me on there. I post a lot of articles on there. I got a series on the apocalypse right now that I've been writing, going over all the history about it and stuff. And I got a lot of videos on YouTube. If you search my name in cannabis, you get documentaries, interviews, shit like that. And I'm going to be on the Danny Jones podcast. He's a big podcaster next month. Should be a good show. He's got like over 1 million subscribers and shit, so he's a pretty big podcast. And yeah, just kind of Google my name and cannabis. Fucking lots will come up if that's what you're interested in. We got lots of books on Amazon, shit like that.
Come on, man. Hey, y'all do y'all research. If y'all like this interview, if y'all like what y'all seen, hit the like button, like, share, and subscribe. Follow all Chris links. He will be back. Mr. Chris, Uncle Chris, I appreciate you. We out of here.
Viva Canada, never 51, man.
Hey, man. Hey, I apologize for all of that Trump rhetoric.
Oh, I don't give a shit,
that
man.
He threw at y'all.
Bring it on, man. Fucking bring it on, I fucking say. Bring it on. I'm here for it, brother.
Most definitely. All right, Uncle Chris, I'm out of here.
All the best, brother.
Peace.